This is White Plains Week, the weekly roundup of White Plains, Westchester, and world news. With John Bailey, editor and publisher of the daily internet newspaper White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, WPCNR.com. Jim Benneroff, editor and publisher of SuburbanStreet.com and WhitePlains.com. And me, Peter Katz, formerly with NBC, ABC News, and stations from Boston to Los Angeles. White Plains Week, what's happening? Who are the newsmakers? What's in store for the future? The views and opinions expressed on this program are solely those of the participants. White Plains Week is presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76, Verizon Fios Channel 45, and on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. Now, White Plains Week.
Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. White Plains, Westchester, and the world at large. I'm John Bailey, and Peter Katz and Jim Benneroff are on assignment tonight, but we're joined by a freelance reporter who has covered a number of stories for White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, Diana Das. Welcome to the program, Diana.
Thank you, John.
And she is here with the headlines.
Here are the headlines for the White Plains Week of July 26, 2018. Walmart, the national retailer, is leaving White Plains. Mayor Roach feels the city will attract a replacement without a problem. A new IRS scam says that there's a warrant out for your arrest. Aaron Worden, who consults with WCNR, warns of a new version of the Microsoft telephone scam. Don't fall for it. OVO, the Chinese bicycle drop-off service, announces it is leaving White Plains after 2 months. The move leaves Lime Bikes the only drop-off service. Delays in White Plains projects are holding up the March of the Millennials to White Plains. White Plains Week will have a mid-year look at this. President Trump dominated the headlines this week with waves of walkbacks and comebacks. On People to Be Heard this week, a retired New York City teacher comments on why Common Core did not work and what school districts have to do to upgrade performance. This week marks the birthday of Amelia Earhart, the heroine of aviation. She was the first woman to fly the Atlantic Ocean, the founder of the Women's Pilots Association, the 99s, and an inspiration to thousands of young women in the 20s.
Thank you, Diana. And now let's go to the roll of newsreel. And there we are, the White Plains Week video newsreel, March of Time. And of course, that is Walmart seen from the city center right there. And that is because Walmart is leaving us. Walmart had put up a sign, and there's the sign right there, which says it is closing. It'll be closing August the 10th. And the intriguing thing about this is this came as a big surprise. What does this mean? It has profound consequences for White Plains. Walmart told City Hall Tuesday morning they were not staying in White Plains and would close August the 10th. This is not good. The reasons that Walmart said publicly were financial performance in the Main Street location and the desire to expand its footprint and the need for outdoor parking. Whatever, they are leaving. Will they occupy a somewhat vacant office park out along Westchester Avenue in Harrison, for example? They have only one store in Westchester County. Will Westchester try and keep them? There has been no indication from the county or its many business organizations that they're racing to give Walmart a site. Yonkers springs to mind. What with big-time gambling coming to Empire City, if there's any property nearby in Yonkers, that would be good maybe for Walmart. Mayor Roach doesn't seem to think there's a problem filling a Walmart vacancy if the building measures up to a top-notch retailer's qualifications. The mayor said, nationwide, the retail landscape is shifting rapidly and dramatically. Fortunately, we have worked hard to reposition the city by bringing more residential and corporate presence into the downtown. The building is a 50-year-old former Sears store in the heart of downtown. Anyone familiar with the real estate market, the mayor said, in White Plains will realize that there will be no shortage of proposals for the site, which will better fit the demand in the downtown. I received a call from Walmart at 9:15 Wednesday advising of their decision, Mayor Roach said. My immediate concern is for the workers who are losing their jobs. We have a very low unemployment rate in White Plains, but this may also be an opportunity for those who wish to change their career path. I contacted our education training center, the mayor said, which is an innovative program that trains people for jobs where there is a shortage of qualified people. For example, healthcare, culinary, and hospitality, to name a few. The ETC, the mayor said, is willing to work with Walmart. I conveyed this information to Walmart, and we look forward to working with them to make this a reality. Well, what did you think when you heard that Walmart was closing?
Well, I have to say I was a little relieved because I feel that, honestly, it's choking the life out of the cities. It's taking away from small businesses, and also it's not, what is it adding? And I feel that other companies, other small businesses will now be allowed to thrive and will be allowed to be discovered now. But that's...
Well, they have to come in and you invest in the rents, and the owner of the property has to be able to curtail or design the interior for whoever wants to do it. Whether they're willing to do that is another question.
Remains to be seen. Yes.
Now, there is a big-time retail drought for this new fiscal year right there, thanks to the Walmart walk. Hopefully, Sears will not depart the Galleria. Frankly, I don't see how Sears survives on the sparse traffic that store generates, but they must know what they are doing. But the more you watch corporate decisions, the more it seems that they react too late to trends. The more you watch city planners, the more you get the feeling that they lack vision today and spot zone their cities. They suggest cookie-cutter development after cookie-cutter development. And moving along down the track here, there's a new scam. There's a new scam going, and I received it on Monday, and I understand, Ms. Das, that you received this a lot of times, and now Diane is going to read what this message sounds like on your phone.
Hello. This call is officially the final notice from IRS, the Internal Revenue Service. The reason for this call is to inform you that the IRS is filing a lawsuit on your name because you have tried to do a fraud with the IRS, Internal Revenue Service, and we are taking over collection and we are filing an arrest warrant on your name. To get more information regarding this case file, just call us back on our department number, 219-401-5583. I will repeat it, 219-401-5583. Thank you.
Now, when I got this call, it chilled me with the officiality of it. But
Absolutely.
Since I'm used to getting these things in the past about IRS stuff, I decided this is a scam too, and we're waiting for the DA to confirm that, the Westchester District Attorney. But you got this call a lot.
I did. I got this call actually about 10 times. Some
Really?
of them consecutively, like every hour on the hour. And it was annoying to say the least, but yeah, I was kind of stunned that now they're using the cover of the IRS.
Right. And so, therefore, we warn everybody, don't fall for this. Don't call that number back. Because I didn't call it back, but who knows what they will be able to obtain if you do call them back.
It's scary.
Yes, it is scary, but this is, since you got the call so much, this is going around. It obviously is very successful. They're getting people to call them back. Otherwise, they wouldn't be doing it. Now there is another scam that Aaron Warden, who is our computer consultant to White Plains Citizen Reporter, told us about. Diane, you have that story.
Yes. For at least the last 5 years, persons have received this sort of unwanted contact from people pretending to be legitimate techs from Microsoft and Apple, etc. But now there is a clever new twist. They've adjusted their script and are calling to say that they will refund money related to prior attempts at bilking you. They ask for a checking account or other financial information, claiming that they will swiftly process a refund, when in fact, they will make false charges or drain the account. Pretty clever, considering that a small minority of those contacted have submitted some form of payment. So please keep in mind, no tech company will reach out to you unsolicited for any reason. The only exception would be if you left a message with them or chose to arrange a callback. Never give out financial information over the phone. None of the scammers have suddenly grown a conscience or have been forced to issue refunds, especially via unsolicited call. If you have given money to tech scammers, the best course of action is to contact your credit card issuer and insist that the transaction be reversed. They are normally happy to help you with this. Also remember to never click on any big blaring alerts about viruses that pop up from your web browser.
Thank you, and that is from Aaron Warden, who computer consults with WPCNR, and we thank him for that. It's important to beware of these, and I wish law enforcement would alert people more about these in press releases and etc. They're really falling down on that, because this is a frontier of crime. Otherwise, you wouldn't be getting it so much. Right? Right. Of course.
Exactly.
Of course. It makes sense to me. Now, there was another organization left White Plains, and that was the drop share bike company, OVO. Here's a picture of the bikes that when the lime bikes are the winner in this turf war, and the yellow bikes down below, which is an OVO thing, are gone. They pulled out, and now Lime Bike is the premier drop share bike. Are these popular, do you think?
I know where I live in Yonkers, they're actually pretty popular. I do see them around. But as for me, I don't ride bicycle. I don't know how to ride a bicycle, but I do see them around. I do see people enjoying them. So I think it's a good thing.
But I mean, this is a 2 months, 2 months that this has been in action, and they pull out after 2 months. It's really, and you've never used it then? Do people you know like them?
People I know do like them.
They do.
It's actually inspired me to learn.
I see.
So
learn to ride a bike.
Yes.
I mean, there's no bicycle licensing test, though. You'll be pleased to find out.
Nope.
Judged by the number of violations that are committed by riding on sidewalks by bicycles. You know, that's a real problem in White Plains. Now, I would like to take up something and show you a little bit about Main Street, and we'll talk about the March of Millennials. It's the mid-year, and we need to talk about where we are at. And this time is running out on the Millennial March. This is a scan down Main Street, and we'll be showing you what the city has to work with. The city has been experiencing a real shortfall in revenues in sales taxes. Since 2008, it earned $45.5 million in sales tax 10 years ago. The city has rebounded to $50 million by the end of the last month of this fiscal year ended June 30th. So where's the city recovery? Considering 2% average inflation, the city economy, as measured by sales taxes, should have grown by inflation. The city should have at least kept pace, but it has not. Even without compounding, if the city economy had stayed the same, the city should have taken $56 billion in sales revenues this year. If our sales tax revenue has enjoyed the amount of buying it had in 2013 and 14, but no, it has not. Now it is imperative that the 4 stalled apartment projects being counted on to bring millennial big spenders into White Plains have to start building. Let's count them. The second tower of 55 Bank Street is presumably going to be started, but the White Plains Mall rebuild has not been started yet. The apartments proposed for behind the Mamaroneck Avenue restaurants between East and Post Road are supposedly starting. The 52 North Broadway Good Counsel 800 apartment complex, if finally approved shortly, could be next. And the White Plains Pavilion rebuild, currently stalled out for site plan revisions. Of course, we also do not have details on the proposals for the city-owned railroad station right here. Those projects have to start now if they are going to be finished by 2021 in order to avoid competition from New Rochelle's overlay zoning that has, I believe, 22 projects in New Row that are competing with White Plains. Word on that transit station shown here. The problem with this is that they are just going to make cosmetic changes to the interior. And that is not what is needed here. My opinion is that they need some sort of a profit center there, a hotel, convention center, something that will make money out of that site. And right now, I do not see the revised train station unless they create a Grand Central Terminal there. You know, really making so, oh, I love this railroad station, I'm going to move to White Plains. Please, that is really not good thinking, in my opinion. What do you think?
Well, I feel that it should, I do like what they're doing now with their proposed plans in the sense that they're adding, you know, charging stations, Wi-Fi, because I feel that, you know, honestly, I've been at that train station and it's sometimes if it's an emergency, my phone has died and I have nowhere to charge it.
Really? I didn't know that.
So I'm excited that they're actually going to do this now.
Well, this is long overdue.
Exactly.
And however, they're not using any vision here from what could be done there, unless geologically nothing really gigantic can be built on a site. It's near the Bronx River, but they never even told us that a big development could not be done there. The city has not revealed anything about what they have planned for their 4 city lots right next to the station. Probably more of the same: apartments, open space, public space. And maybe that'll work, maybe it won't, but they got to start doing it. I mean, time is of the essence, as Louis Capelli once said. Now is the time to build, Mr. Bailey. That was a direct quote. And moving right along now, we now have to really touch on the Donald Trump situation. And perhaps not since Franklin Roosevelt has a president so dominated the nation as Donald Trump has. Trump performance has been analyzed by White Plains' Frank Bruni, who explained why Mr. Trump holds on to his support while confounding his critics. Bruni wrote in the New York Times, "The volume and the velocity of his offenses turn them into a blur, just as the alarms we in the media sound become white noise." That was true during Trump's campaign. It's even truer of his presidency. And it's one of the most unjust, infuriating aspects of his endurance. His shamelessness is actually his saving grace. I liken it to the John Wayne effect, the Clint Eastwood tough guy attitude, the bogey toughness. The Americans like toughness. And that is Trump's great appeal. I would say the key to Mr. Trump's business success was to make a promise to banks and organizations he was dealing with, and then say there's no way I can do that. And with the banks and organizations and individuals on the hook, they, rather than take an asset loss on their balance sheet, carried him. It's how bullies win. They make a threat, and if you let them intimidate you to save face, the tough guy wins. and you lose. This week was walk on, walk off, walk back week at the White House. Mr. Trump rejected criticisms that he committed treason in praising Russia, in rejecting the findings by the FBI and intelligence officials that Russia had interfered in the elections. He said he would meet with Vladimir Putin in Washington. Then on Thursday, the White House said that meeting won't take place until the witch hunt is over. He imposed tariffs on China, hurting the soybean market, the American soybean market, then gave a $12 billion bailout to farmers who might be hurt. I mean, he criticized England's Theresa May for failing to go through with Brexit, then agreed to discuss with the European Union their suggestions for tariff compromise. Now you see it, now you don't.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so it goes, day in, day out. Yesterday's outrage tempered by an "aw shucks, I did not mean it," and the offense is groped over. Criticism of the president slides off him. He is made of something better than Teflon. It's Trumplon. Meanwhile, as the president's approval rating by Republican voters grows and his candidates continue to win in red states, the feckless Democratic Party is failing to devise a dynamic message going into the midterms. Where are the he-men Democrats or the heroine women? This lack of creativity to understand the Trump power to persuade and bring out the worst in people through demagoguery right in a league with Adolf Hitler and the Riefenstahl media mastery and how to combat it means that the midterms are not going to be pretty. They are only 3 months away, and the Democrats have nothing, no message, no hope, no candidates. Only Democratic women are standing up and trying to turn the tide of Trumpism. First, it was the media, then Congress, then the courts. Will the military be next? That's what Hitler did. But it continues, and it probably changed by the time you have watched this show. It's amazing. What did you think of this walk on, walk back week?
I thought it was typical of him.
Yeah.
Actually, nothing he does anymore surprises me. But
that's the danger.
You
expect it.
It's like you expect it. You almost, and it's sad to say, and it's unfortunate, you almost become numb to it. Mm-hmm. But the good thing is, if he does win re-election, that's it. That's all. That's just another 4 years. But
just another 4 years.
But
that's very good.
I like to
That's
think
another 4 years. Just another week. Just another day. Right.
That's how I like to think of it. I mean, but I don't know. I think it's treasonous. Mm-hmm. And I don't agree with. I do actually agree with the fact that Democrats don't seem to have a message right now. Mm-hmm. I think if they stick to health care, they might have something. Mm-hmm. I know as a voter, as a Democratic voter, health care is important to me, and along with student loans. Mm-hmm. Because my generation is
which
now...
Betsy DeVos is walking that back big time. That was a big story in the Times Thursday.
Yes.
That DeVos is absolutely making it impossible for students to get at these shakedown colleges that have done this to them. But speaking of education, we have we interviewed Dennis Rudin, who does a talk show called Profiles and Issues, and also was a retired New York City teacher. There he is in the control room here at White Plains Television. And we asked Mr. Rudin on People to Be Heard, which you can see this week on WP, WPCommunitymedia.org, and we asked him all about what happened with Common Core. Do you believe that Common Core was a mistake?
Yes, from my perspective, I was still teaching when Common Core was introduced. One of the things that I loved, and one of the challenges as a teacher, was that I had, even if I was just teaching one course, government, you have 5 classes. Not all students function on the same academic level.
Of course.
Some are advanced, some are special ed, some are inclusion classes. You have to adjust the lessons to their personalities and to their individual needs.
Such an obvious concept.
And you have to be creative.
Yeah.
And you know something, that's what I loved about the job. Then comes Common Core. They get a name of a teacher who had a particular program in a particular state that worked. They use her name, but the bottom line is everything is mandated. No longer can I plan my own lessons. I have to, from the Board of Ed, strict the rules come down, what has to be in the lesson, what has to be implemented. In other words, I am just some kind of like robot following instructions in the classroom, not being able to process what I see from my students and change the lesson. And it's not just my opinion. If you speak to many people in Westchester County, regardless, you know, in many elite neighborhoods like Rye, Scarsdale, they will tell you that Common Core is burning out their children, it's burning out their teachers.
How does education need to be fixed? Everybody seems to be wanting to do that. Is it administration? Is it too protective of jobs of teachers and administrators?
I'm not saying that all teachers are perfect, but there are many good teachers who go into teaching because they happen to like it. But what I've noticed with administrators, I was very lucky. The first administrator that I had had taught for 10 years. She was a fully competent teacher, and she would give demo lessons for the department on new topics that would be coming in, we had to do anything for the regents, etc. She was a master teacher, and she also had good managerial skills, good people skills, and so we loved her. She came in to help us, to nurture us. Today, that doesn't seem to be the case. Many people that go into administration, frankly, go in because they want to get out of the classroom. I have no grievance if they want to make higher pay, especially if they're good at what they do. But they want to get out of the classroom. They don't really they're not capable all the time of doing good demo lessons or of even doing demo lessons. And they're just in there to just write you up. The other thing is hire administrative teachers that incorporate nuances in the regents or other exams. They sit in their ivory tower. They should be made to come, they should have to come at least 7 to 10 days out of the year and demonstrate those new programs that they introduce so that they can actually be successful in the classroom. With Common Core, I was there when Common Core was implemented. The teachers that the state hired and paid a lot of money, they would give what you call hypothetical case studies. But then when you would ask them questions about your own classroom or ask them to come in and show how to implement it, that we don't do.
That we don't do. And that comes from a New York City teacher veteran. He's taught at DeWitt Clinton High School in the Bronx, knows what he's talking about. And so education is an issue that has to be looked at seriously by every school district in Westchester County as to how they fix these test scores. Right. Now, finally, we'd like to go to a slide of Amelia Earhart. This Amelia Earhart is of course, the aviation pioneer. She was born this week in July 24th, and she I recognize her birthday because she was a person that inspired many women in the early part of this century because of her exploits, flying across the Atlantic, her around the world journey that ended in tragedy. And she lives today through her great advances. This is John Bailey thanking Diane Das for being with us, saying good night for Peter Katz and Jim Beneroff, and good night for White Plains Week.
This has been White Plains Week, news and commentary about White Plains, Westchester, and the world. The views and opinions expressed on this program were solely those of the participants. White Plains Week, produced by White Plains Citizen Net Reporter, and presented on Optimum Cable Channel 76 and Verizon Fios Channel 45. You may view White Plains Week anytime on the internet at whiteplainsweek.com, youtube.com, and wpcommunitymedia.org. For White Plains Week, this is Peter Katz speaking.